Okay. Shall we start? Yes. Good morning. Online, good morning. Hope it is audible, visible. Now, the first one, today we will be starting with respect to the geography part. Now, the first one, whenever we are discussing about any subject, what all the different things we need to know before discussing about any subject? Now, which all things we need to know whenever we are discussing about any subject as such? The three things should be known to you. The first one we call it as the first one. Now, what is geography? You should know about what is geography. Geography andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಮೊದಲು. And the second one you should know about. Now, geography anna why we need to study. Why we need to study geography? Second one. The third one, how to study this geography. How to study this geography. Online, I hope it is audible, visible. Yes. Now, the first one, now with respect to any subject, the three things should be known to you. Now, what is geography? Second one, why we need to study about geography. And the third one, we call it what? How to study this geography part. Yes. Shall we see this one by one? Geography andre enu? Geography ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಅಂಡ್ ಮೂರನೇದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ್ರಫಿಯನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಆರ್ ಯಾವ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇಂದ? ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವಿಚ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್? Majorly from, we call it as the mains perspective. Yes or no? Now, shall we see this one by one? Now, in this class, majorly we'll be studying about the strategy session, and we'll be starting with respect to our introduction chapter also, the first introduction chapter. Now, we'll discuss that all those things one by the 1 year. Now, coming to the first one. Now, what is geography? Geography andre ಏನಪ್ಪ ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ? Now, what is geography? First, what do you mean by geo? What do you mean by geo? And what do you mean by graphy? Yes or no, boss? Now, geography means geo plus graphy. It's a two word. Now, these two words has been taken up from now where? Is it a Latin word, or is it the German word, or is it a Greek word, or a French word, or an English word? What do you think? Exactly online, good morning. Yes. Hope it is audible. Now, first one, now geo means we call it as the major, it's a two word which has been taken up from where? The Greek terminologies, or we call it as Greek words. Now, geo antandre, ಏನಪ್ಪ geo andre? Now, geo andre we call it as earth anta ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Geo andre earth, and graphy means ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it's a discipline, or ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ it's a study, or it's a branch ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. It's a study or it's a branch. ಓಕೆನಾ? ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎರಡೆರಡು ವರ್ಡ್ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಒಂದೇನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ. Geo means geo, and the graphy, it's a two word taken up from a Greek words. Now, majorly the geo means we call it as the earth, and the second one graphy means what? The graphy means the study, or a discipline, or a branch. This is our second one. The third one, sir, this geography as a branch comes under a science subject, or comes under humanities, or it's a both. It's a social science. What do you think? Now, ನನ್ನ ಮೂರನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು now is it a pure science like physics, chemistry ತರ, ಅಥವಾ ಹ್ಯುಮ್ಯಾನಿಟೀಸ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಒಂಥರ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ತರ? ನಾವು ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡೂ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್. ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಯು ಥಿಂಕ್? ಏನಪ್ಪ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕೀಗ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೋತ್. I think, but majorly we call it as, majorly it's both. It is both what? Both the science as well as and the humanities also. And that is the reason this geography is called as what? This geography is called as Enili. It's a branch of the social science. Branch of the social science. Yes or no? This is about our first one. This is the first part clear. The second one, now what are the branches we have with respect to geography? What are the different branches we have with respect to geography? First, what are branches we have with respect to, we call it as the geo or the geography part. Now with respect to branches, now we have various branches with respect to geography. Now which is that various branches? Now first one, perfect, it is the physical geography. Physical, the geography, the physical, we call it as geography. Now what do you mean by this physical geography? What does this physical means? Studying about the physical features. Studying about, we call it as what? Physical, the features. Now which all comes under physical features? Online fast. Which all comes under, we call it as, which all comes under the physical features. Which all comes under physical features? Studying about the mountains. Now can you give some examples of mountains from India or from Karnataka or from the world? First, which all mountains? Now majorly examples which includes Himalayas, examples which includes Andes, examples which includes Alps. All this comes under where? All this comes under the mountains. Now physical, the geography means studying about the physical aspects which does not have life. Now does mountains have life? Second one, can you give some examples of physical? First. You should try at least. Now second one, we call it as rivers. Nadigalu anta karitivi. Rivers. Now at least rivers ke examples kodtira. Online fast. Examples at least for rivers. Now the rivers which includes Himalayan rivers, the peninsular rivers, which includes Kaveri, Godavari, Krishna, Ganga, Indus, Amazon, Nile. All this comes under where? Rivers. The third one which includes majorly studying about, we call it as after rivers, studying about the concept of, we call it as the soils. Concept of soils. Now the basic one here is, what do you mean by the soils? Soils andre mannu. Now what are different types of soils we have? Is soil mandige prana idya, jiva idya? Does it have life? No. Now can you give some examples of the different types of soils? Which includes red soil, black soil, alluvial soil. All this will be studying under which part? Physical part of geography. Yes or no? This is our first one. The second one, sir, living aitalva. I'll elaborate on this also. But just I'm giving you the curiosity. The second major important one, this does not have life. And second one which has life, boss. Now which is that geography which studies about the life aspect? First. Now that geography we call it as human geography. Now the second one we call it as what? The human part of, we call it as what? The human part of geography. Now what is this human and what is this geography? Now the human geography means now which has life. Now majorly we call it as studying about the life of human beings. Now under human part of geography, we have studied about geography. What is geo? The geo means earth and graphy means it's a study or a branch which majorly studies about the human part here. I'm adding a term called as, the prefix called as human anta add ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ. Now human anna add ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಅನ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? Just give me ideas. ಏನೇನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? ನಾವು ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ನಾವು ಯಾವೊಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್. We will be studying about which all things? The population. Now, which country has the highest amount of population? It is India. In around 20%. That will be studying as a part of human part of geography. Second, we will be studying about Yadrup again. We will be studying about the male to female ratio. How many males are present? How many females are the present? We'll be studying about that. The males to female ratio we will be studying about as a part under geography. I hope you are getting it. Yes or no? It is males to female ratio, and we will be studying about the races, the types of the races. Now, what are the different types of races we have in India or at the world level? Races. First, the different types of the races. Now, first race we call it as the majorly Negrotoid race, and second one we call it as Mongoloid, third one Ostroid. Yes or no? All this we will be studying as a part of human geography. And after this we will also be studying about the sex ratio, the settlement one, all those things majorly will be studying with respect to the human part and the human geography. Whereas in physical geography, we will be studying about only which one? The form of geography which does not have life. Yes or no? It is physical geography which includes the mountains, which include the rivers, which includes the plains, the plateaus, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, all those things. Just give me some 10 minutes. I'll elaborate on that also. The third one, this is about the second type of, we call it as geography or a sub branch of geography as such. Second. The third one comes now don't you think geography is also benefit from our economic point of view also? Yes or no? Now, how geography is beneficial from economic point of view? How? Now, economic point of view, and that part of geography we call it as which geography? Economic geography. Highly important one. Now, I have said it is only for the newcomers. I said that it is whenever we are discussing about any subject, we need to know about three things. One, we call it as what is geography. Second, why we need to study. And the third one, how to study this. Now, while discussing about the first one, we have started with the first one. We'll see one by one. Under that, the first one, what is geography? Now, I said geography includes the two words. Now, majorly those two words has been taken up from where? The Greek terminology. Now, Greek terminology, it is geo means the earth, and the graphy means we call it what? The graphy means it's a study, branch, or a discipline which studies about the earth. I'll discuss. Give me some 10 minutes. The third major important one, now is it a branch of pure science or is it a branch of pure arts? Now, what do you think? It's a mix of both. We will be studying from the arts perspective also. We will be studying it from the evidence perspective also. That is science. Now, what is science? Evidence. Now, what is arts? Now, without evidence. Now, majorly we call it as, majorly we'll be mixing both the things. Some hypothesis, some evidences also. And this mixing branch or the mixed branch, we call it as the social science branch. We have studied this. And the third major important, the one here is, now what are the different branches of geography we have? Now, what are the different branches of geography we have? Now, there are majorly some 4 to 5 the branches, majorly from our exam point of view I am discussing here. Now, from our exam point of view, majority of questions come from physical. Second majority comes from humanity, or we call it as human part of geography. And the third geography we call it as the most important one, called as economic geography. Now, my question is, what do you mean by this human part of geography? What do you mean by this human part of geography? that we call it as, I've said about, which has life. Now, what is this physical geography? Which it does not have life. Now, don't you think even this physical can lead to, even this physical also leads to some economic revenue generation? Even this humanities also leads to economic generation. Now, can you give some examples of it is the physical aspect which is leading to economic generation? Examples. You should open your mouth. It's okay even if it is wrong also. Now give some example, try at least. It is okay. Now how weather report, it is generating me income? Yes, indirectly it is generating. But how directly? But examples. Take an example of a soil. I am going for mining. Don't you think it is generating me revenue directly? Now, examples of economic which includes the major one, we call it as extraction of what? Extraction of minerals. Extraction of minerals. Take an example of iron. Take an example of copper, gold, bauxite, feldsite, uranium, lithium. It's a physical one, but it is leading me to the generation of, we call it as resources. And that part of geography we call it what? Economic geography. Can you give some examples? Second example. How the physical geography which is leading me to the economic part of geography. Online fast, you should be active. Big. And baby nilbekega. And teach martine exam next week or share kortini. But you should think. Second, now think how rivers can give me income. Via electricity, hydroelectricity. Perfect. It is via, we call it as renewable source of energy. It can give me nothing but physical things, wind energy, solar energy, hydro energy, tidal energies, geothermal energies. Ashtena, river in the nothing. Now river gives me the inputs for agriculture. Without river, there is no agriculture. Without river, there is no human beings. Our 70 to 75% of our human body, it is made up of what? Water. Yes or no, boss? Now, ishtena advantages. So, now we can use this rivers for navigation, shipping. Yes or no? Let us think. Nothing but navigation. Now, at least try. Now, how soils is helpful with respect to economic generation? How mountains are helpful with respect to revenue generation? Think. Now we normally go to Chikmagaluru or we normally go to Shimla. Now, what is the advantage of going to Shimla or Chikmagaluru or to Kodagu? Now tourism. Now we can generate economic aspect majorly in what manner? Via tourism aspect. And next, when we go to, we call it as all such mountain regions, we have huge amount of biodiversity also. The plants, the animals. Now, can you give some examples of an organisms which are present in such mountain regions? Examples at least. It is Neela Kurinji, which blooms once in 12 years. Neela Kurinji. Majorly Neelagiris. Perfect. Second, try. Second one, we call it as the elephants, the snow leopards, the red panda. Yes or no? All these things are found in where? Mountains. Hope you're getting it. Now, second, now what's the advantage of soils from economy? I want revenue. Without geography or without revenue, will I study this too? No, boss. My outcome is fixed. I want revenue. Now, can you give some examples of it is the soil which is used for revenue generation? Online fast, exactly as dancing deer, or it's also called as Sangai. It's a state animal of Manipur. Perfect. It is present in Loktak Lake. Online, exactly as Nilgiri Thas. It's a state animal of Tamil Nadu. Perfect. Yes. Very bodily. So you should innovate at least. It should be some interactions. Okay. So soil in the how soil is helpful. First. How soil is helpful for generation of economic geography, generation of revenue. Okay, now, okay, soil, it is agriculture not required, it is major, it is soil ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ we can grow different types of agricultural crops. Yes or no? Now take an example of, we call it as, now in black soil, which type of crop majorly I can grow? Cotton. Now if it is alluvial soil, paddy or wheat or jute. Majorly if it is laterite soil, majorly now Western Ghats alli we have, it is majorly laterite soil. Now what type of crop can I grow in Western Ghats? Mountain regions, hilly areas, majorly plantation crops. Now which is that plantation crop? Coffee, rubber, tea, followed by majorly it is pineapples, spices. Now don't you think that different soils are leading to the cultivation of different economic generation also? Yes or no, boss? Yes. Now if that is the case, can you try what is the advantage of studying about human geography? Why we need to study humans? Why we need to study about the population? Why we need to study about the races? Why we need to study about, we call it as the majorly about the male and female sex ratio? Why we need to study about, majorly we call it as the settlement pattern? What's the advantage I'll be getting? Nange adrinda upyogagalenu? Why we need to study? Why should not we study? Both things. Why we need to study? Kannada artha agtide alva? Or is pure English beka? Artha adre saku. It is okay. Now what's the advantage? The population. Now why we need to study, boss? Now when we know about it is, now take an example of India. Now in India, which population is higher? Is it children are higher, youth population is higher, or old age is higher? It is youth is higher. Now if youth is higher, don't you think we need to provide them skills to generate economic revenue? Yes or no? We need to provide skills. Now for providing skills, which is the scheme we have for providing of the skills? Online fast. Which is the scheme we have for providing of skills to the population who are present in India? Now majorly we call it as Skill India Mission, or we call it as Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Vikas Yojana for population. Yes or no? We need to provide them skills. Second, why we need to study about it is the sexes between the male and the female? Why we need to study? Will we generate any economic development from that? Studying about how many populations are present in males, how many populations constitute females? Will we generate any revenue? No, obviously yes. Now how? Majorly females are not contributing much towards our economic development. Now we need to increase that. Via data, we will be getting to know that how can we generate a revenue, and that we call it as economic part of geography. Yes or no? This is about our third branch. The fourth branch we call it as, we call it as, it is the India and the world geography. Indian geography in specific and the world geography in general. I'll be discussing all this 4 to 5 sub branches also at one go. It is, we'll be discussing about Indian geography specific to India. Now we will be discussing about the physical part of India, the human part of India, and economic part of India. And second, we'll be discussing about physical part of the world, human part of the world, and the economic part of the world. We'll be discussing all these three. Now my simple question is, what do you mean by majorly? What do you mean by majorly? We call it as the physical, as well as we call it as the human part of the world and the economic part of the world means. First, fact, it is, what is Indian, the physical, The Indian we call it as economic. Which all things will be studying here. And second, what is world physical, world human and world economic? First. The first one, in Indian part of geography, we will be studying about end to end about all the states. End to end about all the states, which is the northernmost state, southernmost state, westernmost, easternmost, bordering states, under the political part of majorly under we call it as the India part. And along with the things, we'll be studying about the mountains of India, rivers of India, soils of India, natural ecosystem of India. Yes or no? Now, can you give some examples of the mountains of India? Himalayas, second. I've already said that. Other than that, majorly, we will be studying about Aravalis. Majorly, we'll be studying about Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Northeastern Himalayas, Purvanchal Himalayas. Now, about rivers. Now, with respect to rivers, we will be discussing about Brahmaputra, the Tapti, Narmada, followed by Mahananda, Mahanadi. Yes or no? We'll be discussing the minute rivers also. Major rivers and minor rivers. And a major, we'll be discussing about Ganga, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, all those things. Yes or no? While discussing that also, I'll organize the content. I will organize the content also. Don't worry. But the third one we call it as, while discussing about the soils, we will be discussing about the different types of soils. Alluvial soil, followed by black soil, red soil, peat soil, marshy soil, all those things. Laterite soil, A to Z. I'll teach you in innovative manner, not an issue. But while discussing about Indian part of human geography, we will be studying about which all things. It is specific to India. According to, we call it as the recent 2011 census. Now, that is the older one, but we'll also be discussing about the recent, we call it as 2025 data also. This year's data also, I'll be discussing the geography. Which state has highest population? Which state has lowest population? Which state has highest sex ratio? Which state has lowest sex ratio? Which state has highest female population? Which state has lowest female population? Which state has highest density? Which state has lowest density? Yes or no? And other than that, we'll be studying about the economic geography also. While studying about economic geography, we will be studying about the different, we call it as minerals. We'll be discussing about the coal. We'll be discussing about, we call it as iron. We'll be discussing about the gold. We'll be discussing bauxite, aluminium, followed by copper, followed by lithium, uranium, all those things. Thorium, monozotrons, all those things. Today, we are launching Matsya 6000. I hope you are aware. I'll update this also. Current affairs. Matsya 6000, majorly for extraction of polymetallic nodules from Indian Ocean region. That I'll update in your economic geography, majorly from our current affairs. Yes or no, boss? Now, can you give some examples? Now, or else I'll ask a question. Now, which state has the highest amount of gold reserves? Understand my question? If it is Karnataka was the answer, I would have not asked at all. Yes or no? And a simple question is, now I am not asking about which state is the largest producer of gold. I am asking which state has the largest reserves of gold. Options. First option is Bihar. Second is Madhya Pradesh. Third is Chhattisgarh. And fourth one is Orissa. Basic. There is no option called as Karnataka. Now, which one is highest reserves of gold? It is Bihar. Yes, sir. Online, I hope it is clear. Now, there is some minute differences you should know. In the same manner, which country has the, or I can say which state has the highest amount of magnetite iron? Magnetite iron, the first option is Orissa, second is Karnataka, third is Andhra, fourth is Maharashtra. That you should know. And a third. Now under that, it is with respect to iron. With respect to iron, overall iron, Odisha is the largest producer. With respect to specific iron called as magnetite iron, Karnataka is the largest. That you should know. And third question. Now, which state is the largest producer of jute? Options: West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, and Karnataka. It is West Bengal. All those things we will be studying under where? All those things will be majorly studying under, we call it as economic part of geography. Other than that, we'll be studying about which state is the largest producer of spices. Options? Options. Taken options. First is Karnataka, second is Kerala, third is Madhya Pradesh, fourth is Gujarat. It is Madhya Pradesh. Now, land of spices is Kerala. That does not mean that they are the largest producers. We are getting it? Yes or no? Pepperal matra Kerala largest producer. But I am talking about the spices under general. Masala padarthagal. Now, masala items, it is Madhya Pradesh is the largest producer. Yes or no? There's a difference you should know. That is UPSC and KPSC. And fourth question, easy question. Now, with respect to easier question, now which state is the largest producer of groundnut? Options. First option is Gujarat, second is Maharashtra, third is Karnataka, and fourth is Tamil Nadu. It is, the groundnut is Gujarat, G for G. Yes or no? Yes. Now that will be studying as a part of our economic part of geography, majorly the agricultural economics, the industrial part of economy, the communication part. We'll be studying about all those things in our economic geography. Yes. Now at the same time, while discussing about world, I won't discuss in a normal manner, rather I'll discuss about each and every aspect which was in use at least. Now majorly we'll be discussing about all the regions. Now all the continents, which include North America, which include South America, which I take up. If I take up the North America, first day will be about, it is countries. How many countries are there in North America? How many countries are there in South America? How many countries are there in Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica also? I'll discuss that. Second round will be on, it is the capitals of the countries. Which is the capital of Brazil, capital of Australia, capital of, we call it as USA, second round. While going for third round, we will discuss about mountains. In the fourth round, we will go for rivers. Sixth round, we'll go for population. Seventh round, we'll go for, it is economic geography. In that manner, we will be at least discussing some 10 to 15 times about world geography also. And this should not be studied at one go, rather on daily basis. We'll be discussing at last on day-to-day basis both our Indian part of geography as well as world part of geography also. Yes or no? Now a basic question. Shall I ask a basic question? Basic? Okay. Yes or no? Yes. Now first one. Now which is the northernmost territory of India? Which is the northernmost territory of India? Online fast. Options. Now Indira Col, and second one we call it as Indira Point. That we will be discussing at one by one now about this branches. I hope it is clear. Now the next one, so next one, it is first geography is done, branches is done. Now while discussing about earth, the earth, we will discuss about the interior of the earth or exterior of the earth or both. Now what does interior means? What does interior means? Interior andre enappa? Second one, exterior andre enu? What do you mean by interior and what do you mean by exterior? Online fast. I want answers. Yes or no? See, if the class is on Monday, at least you should take up some revision part on Sunday and you should come back. Now with respect to earth, which all things we'll discuss? Is it interior? Interior andre enu? It is interior and within. Perfect. It is interior means we call it as within the earth. Second, what do you know exterior? The outside the earth. Yes or no, boss? It is the outside the earth. Now in our geography, which part we will study? We will study about interior or we will study about exterior or both? What do you think? Being diplomatic is both? Yes or no? It is, we will study about both. Now while studying about within the earth, now within the earth means, now if I take, this is about our earth. Now I will be discussing about what? Within. I will be studying about what? Within. What is that within? First one is the core. The second one we call as what? The mantle. And the third one we call as what? Which one, boss? Crust. Now we will be studying about, now again there is a current affairs also. Last year we have identified the one of the new layer that we call it as E prime layer, which has been identified by Arizona State University of America. Arizona State University of America, they have identified a new layer that we call it as E prime layer. It's not Amazon prime layer. It is E prime layer. Majorly we'll be talking about which all things? We'll be talking about core. We will be talking about which one? The mantle. We will be talking about, we call it as the crust. Yes or no? First one about the structure of, we call it as interior of the earth. We'll be studying about the structure of the interior of the earth. Along with these things, we will be studying about what is the composition within the interior of the earth. We will be studying about the rocks. We will be studying about the minerals. We will be studying about the mining concept. All those things. Where? Under interior of the earth. With respect to interior of the earth, we will be studying about which all things? We will be studying about the structure of the earth, structure of the interior of the earth, which includes crust, mantle and the core. Again, crust is divided into two things. That I'll discuss not now. Today just, it is only the basics, only the easier concepts. Because you need to get some curiosity about the geography. And that's the reason crust, the mantle region and the core part, we call it as the core region. Yes or no? First structure. And second one, we will be studying about the concept of rocks. The concept of rocks. Now, while studying about the concept of rocks, we will be studying about. Now, my simple question is, what is rock and what is mineral? First. What is rock? Aggregation of minerals, we call it as rocks. What is mineral? What is ore? A simple question is, what is ore? What is mineral? What is rock? Now, mineral andre a single component. Yes or no? Now we have salt. ಉಪ್ಪು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? No, ಉಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? NaCl. Hope you're getting it. It's just a mineral. Now if it is the rock, now rock means group of minerals. Ore means without polishing. Without polishing, that we got to what? Iron ore, copper ore, bauxite, all this comes under where? Ores. Ores means naturally extracted without any delay, without processing or without polishing. We call it as ore. Now take an example of the chairs you are sitting. That is made up of steel. Now is that steel, is it a ore or is it a mineral or is it a rock? Now, ore means I said naturally extracted, which is not processed. But your chair is processed, boss. Iron is converted into steel. Yes or no? That is what? Mineral. Rock means naturally extracted or naturally present aggregation of minerals, group of minerals. Group of minerals we call it as what? The rocks. Group of the minerals we call it as rocks. That I'll discuss. While discussing about rocks, we will be discussing about the three types of rocks. Which are three types of rocks? Now majorly we call it as, it is the igneous rock. The parent rock is igneous rock. Perfect, but second one is sedimentary and the third one we call it as metamorphic rock. We'll be studying on this. And again I will discuss that it is in detail what is ore, what is mineral, what is rock, and a study about rock we call it as, now what study? We'll see all those things. Yes or no? It is majorly we'll study about all those things in our, it is interior of the earth. Interior of the earth I'll study more. Now coming back to this, after exterior, we will, it is discuss about exterior. Now what do you mean by exterior? What do you mean by exterior? First, exterior means what? Now if this is my earth, if this is our earth, now the outside part we call it as what? Online I hope you guys are following it. Exterior. Now outside the earth, now within the earth we call it what? Within the earth we call it as perfect interior. Now outside the earth we call it as exterior. Now while studying about exterior, we will be studying about the three aspects of exterior. The three aspects of exterior. Now one we call it as what? One we call it as, we will be studying about the soil or land. We will be studying about the soil, or we call it as what? Land. Is it above the surface or below the surface? Above the surface. Second one, studying about the air. Studying about, we call it as the air. Is it exterior or interior? Exterior. Third, what is the third one? Try at least. Water. Now this water, yes or no? Now these three branches we will be studying. While studying about which one? Exterior of the earth. Now if I am studying land part of the, it is land part of the earth, we call it as what? Lithosphere. Now studying about the land. Now litho means we call it as a land, sphere means region. Land region we call it as what? Understand my question here. Now litho means what? Land, sphere means what? Region or a place, we call it as lithosphere. Studying about the land, we call it as what? Lithosphere. Second one, now studying about the air and the gaseous molecules which are present around the earth. Now in our classroom also. Now is this classroom, is it present above the earth or below the earth? What do you think? Or both? It is above the earth. And second one, above the earth, does it consist of land? Yes. Now we are staying above the land itself. We are not floating in the air. Second. Now second one, don't you think? Even in classroom also we have air, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, all those things. Now studying about the air sphere, we call it as what? We call it as atmosphere. Atmo means what? Atmo means what? Atmo, the sphere. Now what do you mean by atmo means? The gaseous part. Hope you're getting it. Online, I hope it is. You're getting it. Now atmo means the air part. The sphere means what? The sphere means studying about the, it is gaseous region. The sphere means region. Atmo means what? the air which is present above the surface. Yes or no? Now what about third one? Hydro. Now it is water and the sphere we call it as, which sphere is that? Hydrosphere. Highly and highly important. Hydrosphere. Now what is hydro? Water. Hydro is water. Sphere means it is a region. Now you are getting it. It is water region. Now sir, now all these things are fine. Now can you give some examples of litho? Can you give some examples of atmo? Can you give some examples of hydrosphere? Try at least. Online fast. Exactly. It is studying about rock or studying about soil, we call it as the petrology. We'll see that also. Igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks. About the minerals also we'll see. Exactly. Indira, the call, it's the northernmost one. Indira Point is the southernmost one. Indira Point, it's also called as Pygmalion Point, which is present in Nicobar, Andaman and Nicobar. We'll see that. Now, what is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar? Capital of Andaman and Nicobar. At least capital of Nagaland, capital of Mizoram, capital of Himachal Pradesh, capital of Karnataka at least. Okay. No, but within some 5 classes, you'll be thorough with respect to all those things. Not an issue. But now, can you give some examples of the land or the lithosphere? Examples? Examples first. Now, examples of lithosphere, which include which all things? Now, studying about, we call it as the rocks. Studying about, we call it what? The minerals. Studying about minerals. Minerals are also present in lithosphere. Be cautious. Third one, studying about the soil. All this comes under where? Lithosphere. In the same manner, can you try at least for hydro? What are different examples of hydrosphere? Perfect. It is rivers, lakes, oceans, glaciers, underground water. Yes or no? Lakes, ponds, wetlands, all this comes under where? Hydrosphere. Hope you're getting it after a long time. Okay. It is majorly hydrosphere examples. Now, examples by another. Now, majorly which includes the oceans. Now, can you give some examples of oceans? Try, boss. It's okay. Try. How many oceans do we have in India? How many oceans do we have in India? Now, as such, there is no Indian, it is ocean which is present in India. But at world level, we have how many? Now, how many oceans we have? Now, we have the different oceans. The largest ocean we got is what? Pacific Ocean. Second is Atlantic. Third is we call it as Indian. Fourth is we call it as the Antarctic and Arctic. Normally, we have how many oceans? 5 oceans. Yes or no? That we'll see one by one. Second, after oceans, rivers. Now, rivers. Can you give some rivers at the world level? Online fast. Can you give some rivers at the world level? Exactly. Now, the capital of Andaman Nicobar, it's not Port Blair. It is the Sri Vijayapuram. It has been renamed. Port Blair has been renamed as Sri Vijayapuram online. That you should be aware. And with respect to rivers, now at least you should know about Yangtze River in China, Yellow River again in China. You should know about, we call it as Congo River in Africa, Amazon River, Mississippi River in America. Yes or no? At least you should know that. The Olga River, where? In Europe. That you should. That we'll see. From tomorrow we'll see that one by one. But third one, can you give some examples of seas? Sea. It is Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. It is Caspian. It is Caspian Sea. It's not a sea. It's a lake. It's a misnomer. That we'll see while discussing about the lakes also. Now, while discussing about lakes, we will talk about Black Sea, we will talk about Caspian Sea. Yes or no? All this, though it is a sea, it's not a sea, it's a lake. Yes or no? It is just a misnomer. It's not actually a sea. That we'll see. We'll also talk about Mediterranean Sea. We'll talk about Caspian Sea. We will talk about, we call it as majorly, our nearest one, we call it as the Arabian as well as Bay of Bengal also. Yes or no? Now we will see all those things one by one as a part of our hydrosphere. And third one, now with respect to the atmosphere, which all things we'll be studying under atmosphere? Try at least. Which all things we will be studying under, we call it as the atmosphere. Okay. Now majorly, yes. Now while studying about atmosphere, we will be studying about what is climate, what is weather. We will be studying about the different gases which are present in our world. Yes or no, boss? See, all the things we are discussing in our COP30. Now, what is the COP30? COP30. What is COP30 or COP30? Now, Conference of Party 30. Where is it ongoing? Now, COP30, it is ongoing at, we call it as Belém. It is in Brazil. It's in Brazil. They are discussing about a complete aspect of atmosphere, about the different gases. Now, the basic question is, now which gases constitutes the dominant amount of gas at the world level? First, which one? At a world level, which one constitutes the highest amount of, we call it as the gases? Nitrogen. Second one we call it as the oxygen. Third one is argon. The fourth is again carbon dioxide. It is the nickel. All the things are the minute gases we have. We'll be studying about the gases also. After gases, we will be studying about what is the difference between climate versus, we call it as weather. Now recently it is the climate, we call it as risk index has been released. Now climate risk index 2026. Now what is the rank of India? Yes or no? What is the rank of India? You should say at least. What is the rank? It is the 9th. Perfect. It is the 9th one. 9th one. It is climate risk index, CRI. Now again it is released in Belém COP30. According to that, it is under climate risk index, India is at 9th place. Very riskier. The first risk is Dominican Republic. That I also discuss. Now if you don't know about what is climate, how can I teach you about what is climate risk index? It is released by Yarrow. How do you know? There is no point in discussing. And first I'll discuss about basics, and later on while discussing about the basics, I'll update all those current affairs particles. Climate risk index, major released by German Watch. It is environmental think tank released by German Watch. It is 9th rank. That we'll see. We'll discuss about IPCC reports, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report released at COP30. That we'll discuss. Yes or no? That we'll see. And we'll also talk about the weather also. Second. The third one, we call it as the third one. We will be discussing about it is layers of what? The layers of, we call it as atmosphere or structure of atmosphere. Now what a different structure of atmosphere we have? It is troposphere, lowest layer we call it as troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, or we call it as tropostrato, meso, followed by ionosphere and exosphere. Yes or no? Now I'll teach you in a basic manner, in a simpler manner also. Now it is most required for our exam point of view. That I'll discuss. The fourth one I will be discussing while discussing about the atmosphere. We will be discussing about the rainfall, precipitation. In geography, rainfall it is called as what? Rainfall it is called as what? Precipitation. It's not PowerPoint presentation. It is precipitation. Now while discussing about precipitation, we will be discussing about 3 types of precipitation. One we call it as majorly. One we call it as, the major one called as convectional rainfall. Second one we call it as orographic rainfall. And the third one we call it what? Cyclonic rainfall. Now I'll discuss this three. And now my simple question is, if I want to experience rainfall, what is the basic requirement I need to have? ನನಗೆ ರೈನ್ಫಾಲ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಹೌದು ಅಲ್ವೋ? ಮೋಡಗಳು. Now cloud formation, I'll discuss about clouds also, different types of clouds. The stratus clouds, nimbus clouds, cirrus clouds, cumulonimbus clouds, A to Z. Yes or no? It is. We will discuss about, we call it as the clouds also. We'll discuss about clouds. We will discuss about rainfall. We will discuss about world climatic conditions also. Different world climatic conditions. I will discuss as a part of, we call it as atmosphere itself. Yes or no? Yes. In the same manner, while discussing about hydrosphere, we will be discussing about the major topic called as oceanography. What do you mean by graphy now? Now you are aware now. What is graphy? Study. Now if I am adding a term called as, the prefix called as ocean. Now studying about the ocean. Now which all things you will study about ocean? Why we need to study about ocean? First of all. Why? Because ocean constitutes 71% of the world geography. The 2/3 part of our world geography is made up of what? Oceans, boss. And that oceans, we have 5 oceans I've discussed. One is which one? Pacific Ocean. Second one we call it as, now online you should be more active. You should, it is, give a text at least. Nidhe madangilla. Belage 8 gante agide. Okay. Now with respect to this, you should know about the major we call oceans. And oceans alli irtakkanta minerals yavu? The NaCl. Now chloride, followed by sodium, followed by potassium. We'll be discussing about that also. Composition. Third one, I'll be discussing about a structure. What is structure of oceanography? I'll discuss about continental shelf, continental slope, continental rise, islands, the deep trenches, plains, abyssal plains, all these things I will discuss while discussing about oceanography. Sir, ishtena sir antandre, I'll also discuss about the different concept of oceanography. I'll discuss about tides. I will discuss about ocean currents. I will discuss about the temperature, density of oceans also. Yes or no? Under ocean. Now while studying about the lithosphere, we will be studying about the concept of what? Interior of the earth. Interior of the earth. We will be studying about the rocks. We will be studying about, we call it as the plutonic rocks, the different types of rocks. We'll be studying about earthquakes, tsunamis, landslides, concept of weathering, erosion, the different erosion, water erosion, wind erosion, soil erosion, followed by it is ice erosion, all those things. About concept of earthquakes, volcanoes, all those things. And update related to volcanoes also. The recent volcanoes which has occurred in the year 2025, that also I'll update. And I'll also discuss about the recent earthquakes, the recent cyclones. Yes or no? Now this will be our first one called as studying about the earth. And simultaneously we'll be studying about it has majorly Indian as well as world geography also. Simultaneously while studying about the basics, I will teach you with respect to how to know about the world and how to know about India. Not separately. Rather, if I know the basics, I'll apply to the ground at world. I'll apply to the ground at India also. Yes or no? That simultaneous manner we will be studying at one go. Either if you know about it is physical or India as well as world geography, automatically it is minimum 15 to 20 questions will be there from your geography part. I hope the first part is clear. The first part, it is clear. Now with respect to first part, we have talked about majorly. We have talked about which all things. Now under exterior, we have talked about 3 branches of exterior. Now my question is, now what is this interaction point called as? Now interaction between lithosphere interaction between atmosphere, interaction between hydrosphere, and which is that sphere called as? It is majorly we call it as biosphere. Yes or no, boss? Now, if I'm existing here and NammaKPSC Academy, automatically, this we call it as biosphere, boss. There must be land also. There must be water to drink also. Nothing but not to swim. It is to drink. Rather, it is I'm breathing the air also. Either carbon dioxide is being released and oxygen is being consumed. And this part we call as what? This part, the interaction between lithium, interaction between atom, interaction between hydro, and that we call it as what? That we call it as, this we call it as biosphere. This we call it as biosphere. This we call it as biosphere. I hope you are getting it. Now, sir, under biosphere, which all things will you discuss? Under biosphere, which all things will you discuss majorly? Under biosphere, which all things will be discussing under bio? Now, what is bio? What is sphere now? Now, sphere its region. What is bio prefix? It is life, which has life. Bio means biotic organisms. Now, while studying about the biosphere, we will be studying about it is fauna and flora. Yes or no, boss? Now, bio means which has life. Yes or no? And second one we call it as sphere means we call it as the region. Done. Now, biosphere means a region where there is an existence of life. And existence of life region we call it as Goldilocks zone. Now, what do you mean by this Goldilocks zone? This biosphere region, it is called as Goldilocks zone. Now, what do you mean by this Goldilocks zone? Now, Goldilocks zone antandre water antakantadu. The water exists in what form? It is water exists in liquid form, neither in gaseous nor in solid form. Iga water antakantadu solid form alli idre enadu torsutte, ade gaseous form alli idre enadu torsutte, ade liquid form alli idre enadu torsutte ನಿಮಗೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ moderate temperature ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. Where there is an existence of moderate temperature. Is it in solid or in liquid or in gaseous form? Nothing that. Take an example. Now, maneli it is ನೀರನ್ನ ಕಾಯಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಬಿಸಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. ಒಂದು 2 ಗಂಟೆ ನೀರನ್ನ 1 ಲೀಟರ್ ನೀರನ್ನ ಬಿಸಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಇರುತ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ it will convert it into gaseous form? It will convert it into gaseous form. Sir, ಯಾವಾಗ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೈ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಆರ್ ಹೆವಿ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ. Yes or no? ನಾವೀಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. Why solid? Because the temperature is very cold. The temperature is what? Very cold. But now in Bengaluru, it is water exists in liquid. What exactly it means? Does it mean extreme temperatures? Oh, too cold, too hot, or moderate temperature? If it is moderate temperature, water exists in what manner? Liquid manner. Yes or no? Now if the water exists in liquid manner, which clearly says that the temperature is what? The temperature is moderate. And this region anna enanta kariತೀವಿ ನಾವು? ಈ ಒಂದು region anna we call it as what? We call it as Goldilocks zone. Online perfect. This zone we call it as Goldilocks zone ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಈಗ? ಈಗ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ, ನಾವೀಗ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ now what type of temperature is required? Is it too hot or too cold or moderate? It is moderate. If it is moderate, what type of the molecules will be present with respect to water? It is liquid molecules. When it is liquid, moderate temperature, neither too hot nor too colder, and that region we call it as Goldilocks zone. And that region we call it as biosphere. Yes or no? Now a simple question is, example question is, now which all it is the planets are called as, which all planets are called as the Goldilocks zones? Is it only Earth, or other than Earth also has Goldilocks zone where water exists in liquid form? Where all? That is science and technology. ಬೇಗ ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಹೇಳ್ಬಾ. ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ವ ಇನ್ನು? ಮುಗಿತಾನೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ. Now Goldilocks zone, not only Earth is coming under Goldilocks zone, even the Mars, even the Chandrayana, that is moon, also comes under where? Biosphere. Why under biosphere or why under Goldilocks zone? Because water exists in what form? According to recent the satellite missions. The recent satellite missions, majorly we call it as MOM. What is this MOM? Mars Orbiter Mission. It is also called as Mangalyana Mission. According to this, the Mars also exists water in the form of liquid. If that's the case, can I say that it is Goldilocks zone? If there is a Goldilocks zone, don't you think there is a possibility of life? I'm using a term called as possibility. Yes or no? First. Second one, can I say why are the mission called as Chandrayana, the 1 to 3? Chandrayana, the 3 mission, also clarified that it is even above the surface of the moon. It is the water exists in the form of liquid. If that is the case, can I say that even Chandrayana 3 also comes under where? Goldilocks zone. Now Goldilocks zone means possibility of biosphere. Yes or no? And that we call it as Goldilocks zone, and that we call it as biosphere regions. Yes or no? This is about our major one called as the biosphere. Now while studying about biosphere, we will be studying about the 2 important things here. One we call it as about the natural vegetations. Natural vegetation, under natural vegetation we have 2 things. One we call which one? The flora, and the second one we call it as which one? Fauna. Now what is flora and what is fauna means? What is flora and what is the fauna here? What is flora and what is fauna? First, flora is plants, perfect, and fauna means? Now fauna means we call it as animals. Now with respect to flora, now can you give some examples of the flora? Can you give some examples of flora and fauna? Fastest. It's your wish. But some examples. Now, can you give some examples of flora and fauna at least? Now, it is, you guys gave one example, we call it as Neela Kurunji, and second one we call it as the sandalwood. Now, which state is called as land of sandalwood? Now, which state is the largest producer of sandalwood? Now, which state is called land of sandalwood? ಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಇದಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಲಾಜಿನ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಹೇಳಿ ಪಟನ್. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಆಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್. ನೆನೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ವಿಚ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್, ಯಾವ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ವುಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ವಿಚ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್? ನಾವು ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ 3 ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗ, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ, 3ನೇದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೋಲಾರ್. three districts within Karnataka has the highest amount of we call it as sandalwood. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ we call it as the redwood or we call it as the redwood. Now redwood or it can be teak. I hope it is clear. It is sandalwood again. Karnataka is one of the largest producer. One of the largest producer. And other than that, you should also know about which all districts. Major top 3 districts are, it is Chikmagaluru, major Shimoga, and Kolaru is the number 3. The top 3, it is the districts with respect to, we call it as sandalwood anta karitivi. And one of the teaks also, followed by we call it as a number of endemic species also present in where? It is in India. That all this comes under, we call it as the flora. Yes or no? Now, other than that, can you give some examples of fauna also? Can you give some examples of fauna? First. Not Mysuru, online. Mysuru alla. It is Mysuru allu, Mysuru sandal soap illa, soap factory. Now, be cautious. Now, who is ambassador for Mysuru sandal soap? Who is the brand ambassador for Mysuru sandal soap? It is Tamanna Bhatia. Tamanna Bhatia, she is the brand ambassador for, we call it as the Mysuru sandal soap. That you should be aware. It is KSDL. What is this KSDL? Karnataka Soaps and Detergent Limited. Karnataka Soaps and Detergent Limited, which has been started during Krishna Raj Odiyar 4. That you should be aware. And recently we have got a huge amount of profit. After a long amount of years, we have got a profit from this company also. That you should be aware. And second one, it is fauna. Second one, fauna. Give some examples of fauna online. Fast. Exactly online. Perfect. Yes. Following. Now with respect to fauna, again, now major agi leopards. Now which state has the highest amount of leopards? It is Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Top 3 states with respect to leopard. Second one we call it as the tigers. Now which state is the largest producer? I can say largest, it is holder of tigers. Again Madhya Pradesh. Second is Karnataka. Third is Uttarakhand. Go clearly. I hope you are getting. Now with respect to lions. Lions, only state which has lions is Gujarat. Lions, Gujarat. The fourth one we call it as elephants. Online fast. Which state has the highest amount of, we call it as the elephants? It is Karnataka. 25% is from Karnataka. The largest is Karnataka. And after this, Nilgiri Thar. Nilgiri Thar, highest is Kerala, but it is a state animal of Tamil Nadu. Highest, it's in Eravikulam National Park of Kerala, but it's a state animal of which state? It's a state animal of Tamil Nadu. That you should be aware. And followed by that, you should know about the major one. The next one we call it as the Barasinga. The Barasinga. Barasinga means 12 ounce. Bara means 12. 12 ounce. State animal of Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh has the highest amount. Barasinga. Next is GIB. Great Indian Bustard. It's not Gobi, it is Great Indian Bustard. It is Great Indian Bustard. Which state is the highest amount? It is Rajasthan. It's a state animal of Rajasthan also. In Rajasthan, it is called as Godhan. And next one, it is black buck. Black buck has been died in Karnataka. 28 black bucks has been died in Karnataka. In Kittur Rani Channamma Zoo, mini zoo of Belgavi district. Now black buck. Now it was black buck. Now majorly which state is the highest amount of black bucks? Now major highest amount of black bucks are present in Haryana and Punjab. Black bucks. Yes or no? That you should be aware Now with respect to at least the fauna and flora. Fauna and flora. Now at least can you guys give some examples at least? Whichever you know. Other than this. Lion-tailed macaque. Lion-tailed macaque. Koti, manga. Now which state? Karnataka. Lion-tailed macaque. Second one. The next one. Sangai deer, Manipur. Sangai deer, Manipur. All the things comes under where? All the things comes under the fauna part. Yes or no, boss? Now this will be studying under the part called as which part? Under the part called as the biosphere, the part. On an exactly as under the biosphere. I hope it is clear. Done. Now all those three we will be studying under a part called as it is biosphere part. Done. Now while discussing about biosphere also, we will be discussing about the different climatic regions also. Different climatic regions also. Now which all climatic regions? We will be studying about tropical monsoon. We will be discussing about deserts. We will be discussing about Mediterranean type of climate. We will be discussing equatorial type of climate. We will be discussing about British type of climate. All this with logics. It is with understanding the concept also. I will teach you one by one here. Done. Now with this, is this what part clear? The first one, it is, we call it as what part clear? Again, wild ass. Now wild ass Ellie. Online question ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು wild ass Ellie. Indian wild ass, Gujarat. ಕತ್ತೆ wild ass ಅಂದ್ರೆ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ rhino. Now rhino ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ? It is one rhino. One to combina rhino ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? Major it is in Assam, Kaziranga National Park. Perfect online, yes. Kashmir stag. Kashmir stag, Kashmir Ladakh alli. Yes or no? Dutchingham National Park. Now after bifurcation, it has gone to Ladakh. That you should be aware online. I hope it is clear. It is Kashmir stag. Exactly. It's also called as Hangul. It's also called as Hangul. Perfect. Yes, yes. Online. Thank you. Okay. Now, sir, idella okay, sir. Idella okay. But ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ? Now the word geo and graphy, the word has been given by now which person? Now who is called as father of geography? Online first, try. Who is called as father of geography? Now the word geo and graphy has been given by a Greek person. Has been given by again a Greek person. Has been given by a Greek person. We call it as Eratosthenes. I hope you are aware. It is Eratosthenes. Eratosthenes. He is called as what? He is called as the father of, we call it as father of geography. It is not Aristotle, boss. It's not Aristotle. Eratosthenes, he has given a concept called as, which concept? The two keywords. The word called as geo and a word called as graphy. And because of his immense contribution, we are recognizing this Eratosthenes as the father of geography. Because of his contribution, we are calling him as what? The father of geography. Father of geography. I hope this part is clear now. Okay, now is this what part clear completely? Now while discussing about what, we have discussed which all things? First, while discussing about what, we have studied about, yadur ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, we have studied about geography. And second one, we have studied about the different branches of geography, different branches, and we have also studied about little bit aspect of, we call it as the syllabus also. Yes or no? This is our first. The second one, now you might be available, or I can say you might be aware, if you have understood the class, or I can say The major one. Now, why? Why we need to study geography? The major. Why we need to study? See, why you are here at 8 o'clock? Why you are here? The majorly you want marks. Yes or no? Now you want to clear an exam. Now majorly, it is the why we want this geography, majorly not for knowledge, rather for what? The marks. Yes or no? If it was knowledge, ಮನೇಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೀವೇ ಓದ್ತಿದ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಾಯ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Yes or no? Majorly want more marks, but more marks with a shorter period of time. That is your objective also. Yes or no? It is majorly for marks. Sir, if it is marks, how many marks has been asked? Majorly from, we call it as the prelims. Now with respect to marks, ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದಾರಪ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮ UPSC ಇಂದ ಮತ್ತು KPSC ಇಂದ ಅಥವಾ KAS ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಇಂದ. ಸಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದ UPSC, ದ CSC, ದ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್, and the second one we call it as the KPSC, the KAS. Now if that is the case, how many marks has been asked exactly to clear the exam? Perfect. Now how many marks has been asked majorly from the UPSC, CSC and the KPSC, KAS exams? Now under that, this UPSC, CSC is again divided into two things. One we call it as what? One we call it as the prelims, and the second one we call it as what? The mains. We'll discuss that also, prelims and mains also. And the second one we call it as under KPSC, KS. Now we'll be having two things. One we call it as yavdu? One the prelims anta karitivi, and second one yavdu? Mains. Now sir, all these things are fine. Now the geography as a subject comes under which paper of our prelims and mains from our both UPSC and KPSC? Not even know where exactly geography lies. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ GS1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. GS ಪೇಪರ್ 1. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? GS ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜನರಲ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಪೇಪರ್ 1 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು GS2 ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದ CSAT, ದ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬೈ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಹೆನ್ಷನ್, logical reasoning, aptitude, logical reasoning, and we call it as comprehension ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 80 questions, 200 marks. But geography comes under, we call it as geography comes under paper 1 of UPSC, CSC. That you should be aware. Prelims has two papers. One is we call it as majorly, it is second paper majorly CSAT, and the first paper we call it as GS paper 1. Under GS paper 1 we has a subject called as, the examiner was clearly mentioned saying that it is India and world geography ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೇನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. Now what does Indian and world geography means? Complete. Without basics I cannot teach India, without basics I cannot teach world geography also, and that's the reason it is we need to study about all the four things. Questions are coming from four. It is basics, physical, the human, economical, and the fourth one we call it as the Indian and world geography. We are getting questions in both our prelims as well as in our mains also. Yes or no? Now with respect to our mains, now geography comes under which paper? Now how many papers do we have in our mains with respect to UPSC, CSC? How many papers? Now total we have 9 papers. Total we have 9. Now which is that 9? Which is that 9, boss? First. Now this 9 includes now majorly the 5 general papers, general studies paper 4, 1 essay, 1 essay, 2 optional, and 2 language papers, qualifying papers. Language papers, normally if it is from Karnataka, 1 will be English and 1 will be Kannada. It is 2 papers. 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, 1 we call it as how many papers? 9 papers in your mains. Hope you're getting it. Now 4 GS. General Studies 1, General Studies 2, General Studies 3 and General Studies 4. Second one, 1 essay paper. And third one, it is the optional 2 optionals. Fifth one, we call it as the language papers. English and Kannada papers. Total, ಎಷ್ಟು papers ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Total 9 papers ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ 9 papers ಇದೆ. ಹೌದೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ? ಇಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ, ನಾವು ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯಾವ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಯಾವ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? GS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಯಾವ GS ಅಲ್ಲಿ? GS 1, 2, 3, 4. Now geography as a subject comes under GS 1. It comes under which one? GS 1. Now GS 1 includes art and culture and history, society and geography. Be cautious. This GS paper 1 includes 3 things. Which is that 3 things? One we call it as history, art and culture. Second one we call it as society. Third one enta karitivappa antandre geography anta kariತೀವಿ. Yes or no? Now sir, now each and every paper, if it is for 250 marks, if it is for 250 marks, now 250 divided by 3. 250 divided by 3 means it is in and around how many marks will get it from mains? 80 to 85. 80 to 85 marks we will be getting it from where? We will be getting it from, we call it as the geography itself. Now major, if you want, I'll show you the syllabus also. But in reality, geography includes only these 3 parts: physical geography, human geography and economic geography. Bas. ಅಷ್ಟು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮುಗೀತು. The 3 things, 80 to 85. I think by 10 mark and 15 marks, in and around it is 4 10 marks and 3 15 mark questions will be asked in your geography. And not even a single question will be out of my class. Both prelims and mains also. That will be more than sufficient. Yes or no? It is, you will get a confidence also. That's my first one. And second one, while discussing about KPSC KS, now how many papers in our prelims and how many papers in our mains? It is 2 papers from our prelims. Now it is paper 1 which includes GS 1 and GS 2, or paper 1 and paper 2. As simple as that. Now in our UPSC, the paper 2 is only qualifying in nature. We need to get only how many marks? 1/3 of the marks. It is nothing but 67 is the magic number. But here both the papers are scoring. Understand my word here. It is both the papers are scoring here. And that is the reason you need to get good marks both in your GS1 as well as your GS2 also. If you want to clear it, or if you want to get it is KS rank or prelims. Now each and every paper having, it is 100 questions and this also having 100 questions. Now under this 101, it is the marks has been divided into, clearly they have divided 60-40. They have clearly divided 60-40, and paper 2 has been clearly divided it into 3 things. Understand this, boss. Without this, whatever I teach, it is completely a waste of your knowledge. Without knowing the tricks, without knowing the strategy, it is no point in you discussing the topics. And you should know where should I invest my time and how much should I, or how much time should I need to give, and that you should know clearly online. That is the reason I'm saying here. 100 questions Now, out of the 100 questions, majorly, it is divided between 40, 30, and we call it as what? 30. 40, 30, 30. ನಾವೀಗ 60, 40 ಏನು, ಈ 40, 30, 30 ಏನು? Now 60 questions will come from humanities. Now what do you mean humanities? What do you mean by humanities now? Humanities includes polity, economics, geography and history. 60 questions, boss. 60 questions andre 4 subject, each and every subject getting how many marks? 15 questions, 30 marks. Yes or no? There's only questions. Into 2. Yes or no? This is our first one. Now what about this 40 questions? 40 questions will come from, we call it as current affairs, the national and international current affairs. The national and we call it as the international current affairs. Yes or no? Second. Now when it comes to the paper 2, it is 40 will come from state issues and state current affairs. State current affairs. Now 30 will come from 2 subjects, 15 each. One we call it as what? Environment and ecology, and second one we call it as what? Science and technology. Andre 15 each, approximately 15 each. And in ಮಿಕ್ಕಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು 30. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ 30? Now 30 will come from 3 sections, majorly CSAT, 10 each. English comprehension 10 question, logical reasoning 10 question, followed by quants or aptitude 10 question. 30 question. It is clearly, it has been mentioned in our, it is KPSC website itself. And then they will follow it, no matter what. Yes or no? This is prelims for KPSC. But what about mains? Now how many papers do we have with respect to mains? How many papers do we have with respect to mains? How many papers do we have with respect to mains? Now in KPSC we don't have optional. Optional na tagidre 9 tagidre mikide eshtiದೆ? It is 7 papers. Nothing but ditto same syllabus. ಏನು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ditto. But main syllabus of KPSC is more good than UPSC because they have clearly detailed, they have mentioned what you need to study, what you should not study. They have clearly mentioned. Yes or no? Now how many papers? It is majorly we call it as the 7 papers, 2 plus 5, 2 qualifying Kannada and English plus 5 papers, 1 ethics, 4 GS. Now geography comes under which paper? GS2. Now each and every GS has 3 sections. 3 sections. Now under GS2 we have 3 sections. One we call it as geography, second section we call it as polity, and the third section we call it as public administration and international relations. ಈಗ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ GS1 or I can say the KPSC KS, now geography as a subject comes under which section? Which section? Now first section or the section A of which paper? GS2 paper. Yes or no? Under GS2 paper we have section 1, section 2 and section 3. Majorly section 1 which includes geography, section 2 which includes majorly we call it polity and Indian constitution, and the third one which includes public administration, nothing but governance of UPSC, governance and international relations. No change at all. All are same. And the other reason, if you study it from one exam, automatically it gets reflected in your its other exams also. Yes or no? It is like a plan, the B as such. Again, how many marks? 250 divided by 3, 80 or 85 marks. Again, the same marks. Yes or no? This is about your majorly. This is about your the major one called as the syllabus. Sir, with respect to prelims, how many marks has been asked? Now, how many marks has been asked? Now if I compare 2013 to 2025. Now, why 2013? Why only 2025? Because 2013 the syllabus has been updated. The syllabus has been updated, and in the year 2025, the last exam which has been conducted. Now, if I compare this last 12 years of the UPSC papers, UPSC CSC papers, on an average, they are asking how many questions? 15 questions for sure. 15 questions at least they have been asking from the geography. And I'll also teach you where all the questions are being coming from. In the same manner, the KPSC also, I've already said that. KPSC also, I've already said that. How many marks has been asked? 15 questions are being asked from which subject? Geography. And with respect to mains, 80 or 85, both from our KPSC as well as from our UPSC also. From our mains, they're asking 80 to 85 marks. They are getting it from, or we are getting it from, we call it as the geography mains as such. Yes or no? This is about our major one called as the marks allocation or the distribution with respect to the marks. It is majorly from the geography subject. Yes or no? Now I hope you got a clear idea about it is the second part called as. Now second part called as what? The second part called as the why part. What is done now? What is done? And why is also done. I hope you are getting this. See, whenever you are discussing about any subject, boss, not only geography, be it any subject, you should know about this three at one go. And before that, you should never discuss any it is subject as such. Done. And the third one we call it as third one. How to study this geography? How to study this geography as such? Yes, exactly. It is the same thing applies to KA also, PSA also, Group C also. The PC in the DC level or go. The geography remains same, boss. Yes or no? What will be the difference? No difference. But if it is PC, PSI, there can be some moderate questions. If it is KPSC, some tough questions. If it is UPSC, some very tough questions or statement-based questions. Other than that, it is no difference at all with respect to any subject. See, this is the division we are it is making. This is the division we are it is seeing with respect to the divisions. On an average, beat any exam. Group C ಕೂಡ minimum 15 question geography ಇಂದ ಬಂದೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರೋದು KEA 708 post ಇಂದ ಕೂಡ minimum 15 question ಬಂದೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So after the exam, I'll also discuss about the paper also. It is HK paper also I'll discuss after 22nd, and I'll also discuss about we call it as majorly about the non-HK the paper also we'll discuss, and you will get to know about it is how many questions have been asked. Yes, that we'll discuss, that will conduct, not an issue, not as a geography part, rather with respect to complete paper we'll discuss. And again from PC or from PSI it is 15, the questions we are getting nothing but 30 marks. ಬಂದೇ ಬರೋದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಜಾಗ್ರಫಿ ಕೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಾಗ್ರಫಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. Karnataka related geography also. Major they'll ask a question about the soils, they'll ask a question about physiography of Karnataka, they'll ask a question about rivers of Karnataka, they'll ask a question about mountains, the soils, the minerals, all those things. ಅಣೆಕಟ್ಟುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ನದಿಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, it is majorly about the soils, ecosystems ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಏನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಗುರು, ನೀವು ಓದಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಓದ್ದೇನೆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟು ಬಿ ಫ್ರಾಂಕ್ ಏನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಕೆ ಎ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಲ್ವಾ, UPSC ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಎನಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ rather than mugging up the clarity. You are mugging up rather than it is clarifying it. And majority of questions they are asking it from it is mixing the questions. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್, ಒಂದು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಫೇರ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ಮಿಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ 1 and 2 is correct, 2 and 3 is correct, 1 3 is correct, 1 and 2 and 3 is correct ಅಂತ. ಹೌದೋ ಇಲ್ಲೋ? ಇನ್ನು ಟಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಓನ್ಲಿ 1 statement is correct, only 2 statement is correct, 3 statement is correct, 4 statement is correct. Hope you're getting it. Now we'll discuss all those things. And anyways, it is as a part of this course we are adding the test also. It is every week it is will be having test, but not the first week. It is each Saturday ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ ನಾನು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ we cannot it is covered it is the maximum topics, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಟ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವೀಕಿಂದ ಬಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನನಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಕವರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್, ಥರ್ಡ್, ಫೋರ್ತ್ ವೀಕ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್, both prelims and mains, both prelims and mains. It is prelims in the maybe some 50 questions or 20 or 25 questions, as much as possible, 20, 25, 30, 50 ವರೆಗೂ. And second test ಕೂಡ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫುಲ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಜಾಗ್ರಫಿ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್. And while it is giving the test, ನಾನು ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, I won't be giving the questions only from my class, but it is if you have understood the class, you can apply in the exam. ಆ ಥರ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೋವೇಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್, ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗಿವ್ ಸಮ್ 100 marks ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್ಲಿ ದ ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಸಮ್ 2 questions, 4 questions, 5 questions. ಆ ಥರ you can write every Saturday or every Sunday. That will be as a part of the course itself. That will start from second, third and fourth week, but not the first week. But ಈ ವಾರ ಆರಾಮ ಮಜಾ ಮಾಡಿ, ಆರಾಮ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಾಲಿಡೇಟ್, and from second, third and fourth week, every week you will be having a test. That is from my side also as a part of this course also, major. Now the second part is clear. Now third part, yes, majorly. Now the current affairs I'll discuss next week. The KA current affairs will be done also. It is 1 year of current affairs will also be done. Yes, but while discussing about this course, it is one of our freshers. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಂದಾಗ I'll be adding. ಆ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಂದಾಗ it is adding the current affairs also, the 1 year current affairs or 15 months of current affairs I'll add as a part of this course also. The relevant current affairs, it is ongoing current affairs also I'll add while discussing about specific topics. ಈಗ earthquake ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ I'll be discussing about majorly the earthquake across the world, the recent current affairs. And while discussing about cyclones ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಮಾಂತಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ರೀನೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ while discussing about any it is fauna and flora, I'll add that part. While discussing about Brazil, I'll discuss about COP30. ಈ ತರ now majorly what are the topics, maybe it is as much as possible, it is within a limited period of time I'll be adding all the current affairs also. At least 1 year current affairs I will update as a part of this course also. And then that anyways I'll do as a part of any subject as such. Okay sir, for mains anta nododadre, it is mains adre every day it is I'll teach you how to write answers also. It is not the first week, I am already saying first week ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಬರ್ಸಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಏನೇನೋ ಬರೀತೀರಾ. ಬಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವೀಕ್ ನಾನು ಬರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ಟೀಚ್ ಯು ಹೌ ಟು ರೈಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟಜಿ, ಇಂಟ್ರೋ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಬಾಡಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಹೌ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್, 7 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, 9 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, 10 marks ಅಲ್ಲಿ 7 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. If it is for 250 words, we need to write it in 9 minutes. How to write that? It is I'll teach you A to Z, boss. It is one by one I'll teach you how to write intro, how to write body, how to write conclusion also. It is I'll teach you as a part of this course itself. Then based on the topics, after discussion I'll give you one question, I'll make you write, and after that I'll just teach you how to write the answers also. It is effective answers or a blueprint also I'll teach you. That anyways as included as a part of this course, it is yes, done. Okay, now this is about our what and why. And second one or the third one we call it as, sir, how to study this geography. Now geography na study ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ how to study, should we need to study it in random manner or should we need to study it in organized manner? Now how to study, how to study this first. Now how to study, now majorly to study this we call it as geography. Now we need to study it in majorly from we call it as organized manner, and I'll be teaching you from our exam point of view. No stories, ನಾನು ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, no stories from exam point of view ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Yes or no? See, that is what you guys also want, right? Story ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. Now exam point of view, how to get 15 questions right, that should be your strategy for prelims. And for mains, how to get it as maximum, it is marks with respect to mains, and that will be teaching as a part of we call it as exam oriented, we call it as organized pattern. We'll be discussing from an exam point of view. Andre majorly I'll be discussing all those, it is the required part from your exam point of view, that I'll discuss. Sir, all these things are fine, how will you discuss? Now majorly while discussing about geography, we will be discussing initially about we call it as physical geography. Under physical geography, I will be starting with respect to which one? I'll be starting with lithosphere. Now, after lithosphere, I'll be discussing about atmosphere. I'll be discussing with respect to atmosphere. Third one, we call it as the third major important one. After this, we'll be discussing about hydrosphere. Post that, we'll also discuss about human part of geography, economic geography, Indian part of geography, as well as we call it as what? World geography. This will be the organization to study about the geography part. Now, while studying about lithosphere, I've already said that which all things I'll be studying as a part of lithosphere. I'll be studying about the concept of Earth, latitudes, longitudes, rotation, revolution, seasons, day and night. After that, evolution, the different theories, Big Bang theory. Followed by that, we'll be studying about, it is majorly about the planets, terrestrial planets, followed by gaseous planets, about Mercury, about Venus, about Jupiter, about Saturn, about Earth, Mars, Venus, all those things. And after this, we'll be studying about how stars formed, how sun has been formed, about the sun mission, Aditya L1 mission, about the moons, which planet has the highest amount of moons. And after that, we'll be studying about rocks, different types of rocks, igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks. Yes or no? Adadmele, we'll be studying about erosion, deposition. Now about the riverine erosion, water erosion, land erosion, all those things. Earthquakes, volcanoes, A to Z. I'll discuss. Now here as a part of lithosphere, I'll be discussing in and around some 7 to 8 chapters. 7 to 8, the chapters I'll be discussing. And after this 7 to 8 chapter itself, I'll move to atmosphere. Without that, I won't move to atmosphere. After this, atom. Now, while moving to atmosphere, we will discuss about what is atmosphere, what is climate, what is weather, the layers of atmosphere, what is albedo effect, what is temperature, what is humidity, what is clouds, what is precipitation, what is rainfall, what are the different climatic conditions, A to Z. Again, I'll be discussing around some 3 to 4 chapters from atmosphere. From oceanosphere, it is oceanosphere or hydrosphere. Now, majorly we'll be discussing about what is hydro, what is atmosphere, chemical components of atmosphere, chemical components of hydrosphere. That we'll be discussing. That we will be discussing as a part of, we call it as LA. It is hydrosphere. We'll be discussing about hydro. Now, while discussing about hydrosphere, majorly we'll be discussing about ocean currents, tides, waves ಬಗ್ಗೆ, structure ಬಗ್ಗೆ, some 2 chapters. Yes or no? ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು human part of geography. Now, human part of geography again 1 chapter. Economic geography again 1 to 2 chapters. Now, human geography majorly about the humans, about the races, about population growth. All those things I will teach you in a single chapter. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು economic geography. Now, majorly while studying about economic geography, we will be discussing about, we call it as about agriculture, about minerals, about plants, about crops. Yes or no? About energy, all those things under economic. Now, we'll also discuss about roads, we'll also discuss about waterways, we'll also discuss about ports. Yes or no? Adadmele, now we'll be specifically discussing about Indian geography, Indian physical, Indian the political. While discussing about Indian physical and Indian political, we'll be discussing about the different states, political, different UTs. Under physical, mountains, plateaus, the plains, the islands, followed by coastal regions. Hope you're getting it. The same thing applies to world also. Based on continents, we'll be discussing one by one. I hope it is clear, boss. Done? Online, I hope you guys are following. Done? Yes. Okay, Alva. This will be our, it is organized patterning. Organized patterning. ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ನೀವು 15 ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಅಂದ್ರಲ್ವಾ, ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ಬೋದು 15 ಕ್ವೆಶನ್? Now you are talking about the majorly how many themes? Majorly we got 7 themes. Now 7 themes under on an average, the 2 questions will be, it is coming from all the different themes. At least 2 questions. 2 questions from litho, 2 questions from atmo, 2 questions from hydro, 2 from human, 2 from economic, 2 from we got as Indian and 2 from world. Average. And this is about our, we call it as exam oriented organizational subjects also. I have organized into exam oriented based on the priority. Which one should be learned first, which one should be learned second, which one is highest scoring, which one is lowest scoring. I have organized. Yes or no? This will be with respect to your, it is the majorly from your exam point of view. Exam point of view, this is how part. This will be discussing one by one as a part of how. Done. Now before starting with respect to our, the chapter or the first unit of our lithosphere, now just I'll give you the glance about it is what is this course all about. Now the course all about. Now in this course, now this course will be a one-stop solution for the geography for all the exams. For all the exams. Now ಯಾವ exams cover ಆಗತ್ತೆ sir ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ majorly starting from PC, the PSI, Group C, followed by the KAS, followed by UPSC, all UPSC exams. The geography will be one-stop solution for prelims. Now along with the things, I'll also be covering the mains for this too also. The mains for this too also. And second one, this course will be for majorly, we call it as majorly for 80 to 90 hours. 80 to 90 hours. Now if I require, I'll extend up to more than 100 also. It's my wish. But as a part of this course, it is 80 to 90. So I cannot decide. And while teaching, I'll get to know that based on your understanding, I can increase the speed or I can decrease the speed. But average is minimum, it is 80 to 90 is required. For sure is required. Now this 80 to 90, it is every day I'll be handling the 3 hours into 30 days. I think but it's a 1 month course. Now it is 1 month, 10 days. It is excluding holidays. It is 2 days we'll be having holidays, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will be having test and Sunday you will be having holiday. If that's the case, I'll be getting 5 days. 5 into 6 weeks, in and around 1 month, it is 1.5 month we require, it is 30 days. This you should be aware. And the third one, the classes will be from 8 a.m. to the 11 a.m. It is Monday to Friday. It is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. You will be having, it is my class, geography up till completion. It is only my class up till completion. And the third one, this will be for, it is majorly the prelims as well as the mains. Majorly prelims, I've said the different exams, the PC, PSI, Group C exams, followed by KAS as well as the UPSC. Now mains is purely for, we call it as the UPSC as well as which one? The KAS. Done. Now while discussing about a topic, I'll also give you the hints saying that now which all topics has been appeared in your prelims. I'll discuss that also from different exams. PCL out kelidare, PSI ali, Group C, KAS and UPSC. It is UPSC, CDS, CIF, NDA exams, all the different exams which all questions has been asked. I'll give you the hint. And I'll also say that this is highly important, focus on that while discussing about the prelims. Adu nanu helkodtene niಮಗೆ. But mains anna ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ every day I'll give you one question, not in few days, but it is after, it is the first week, it is ended, it is will go one question. Now before that, it is 1 week, it is I'll give you all the ideas about how to write a mains answers. That I'll give you all the tools which are required to go for a mains. And from second week, every day it is for at least some 10 or 15 minutes, you will be having one question for sure. That is for sure. It is one question mains. If that's the case, it is I'll teaching you in and around some 25 questions from the mains part also. 25 questions from mains part also. This will be the third. And the fourth one, you will be getting hard copy study materials, hard copy the study materials as a part of this course itself. Now, hard copy study materials, the two study materials will be available, or you will be getting. One is called as physical, and the second one we call it as what? Indian. For your reference, but not required, but none class more than sufficient. It is not required, but for your satisfaction, it is we are providing the study materials also. And the fifth one will be, it's after the class, I'll be available for one-to-one mentorship also. It is to evaluate your copies or to get your queries done after 11 a.m. I'll be here. It is based on the time requirement. At least I'll be here up till 11:30. It is you can get all your queries done. It is one-to-one mentorship will be added as a part of this course. And after this part, as I already said, it is every Saturday you'll be having. It is initially you'll be having sectional test. And after that sectional test, in the last week of the course, you will be having one full length test, two sectional tests. Now, two sectional tests of both prelims and mains, and one full length test of both prelims and mains. Nothing but totally you will be getting 6. The geography test you will be getting. It is along with the classes, the class 1, and followed by that, it is I'll be adding some curiosity questions also. Some basic questions also. Okay, really. But everything, whatever I teach in the class, if I give it in the questions, there is no point in me giving you questions. That is no use at all. But Adhukaskaram, it is I'll add some curiosity questions also. And if you get lesser marks also, it is no discouraging. It is no problem at all. It is just only to test you, not to demotivate you. That is just only to bring in your curiosity. Only this will be as a part of it. Is first one I said that it is the geography will be for exams 80 to 90, and the third one it is prelims and mains, the 3, and it is the 6th one, and the 7th prong strategy, or the 7th one we call it as along with those things, it is dedicatively the current affairs. Now under this current affairs we will be providing the 6 months of the current affairs magazine. 6 months of current affairs magazine will be provided in what format? Hard copy. Nan barita jenella. It is hard copy. It is major. It is nandre magazine bardirata. It is whatever the it is course details. I am writing it because it is a surety. Nan bardin kodlevek academic. It is mandatory now. It is hard copy. They will provide it for 6 months. It is this mandatory one. And along with those things, every month we are adding one full length current affairs also. Current affairs test also. Yes or no? In case if there is any doubts, I will handle that also. Current affairs full length in the. In case there is any questions or the doubt part, it is test written. Our testal doubts, we will handle that. In case if you want one separate class on this current affairs or discussion also, we can do that also. Not an issue. But as of now, one full length current affairs, the test also has been added. It is as a part of this course. And this course will be, it is both online as well as offline. Online, offline, and it is today and let's see tomorrow. It is, if possible, it is majorly today. It will be just a free open session. It is class for everyone. It's in YouTube. That will be, it is online. And from tomorrow or from Wednesday, we'll be migrating it to the portal, and that portal will be the paid. That will be the course or the paid class. Now majorly, now when you have paid, automatically you will also be getting recordings, and you can watch it from online also. It is live also, or it is you can attend our offline sessions also. It is all these 3 will be provided for everyone. It is either offline or online. It is for offline also, online will be available, and recordings will also be available. For online people, offline is also, it is most welcome, and recording will also be available. Nothing but it is, will be opening your account and will be providing access. It is within no time. It is within 1 day, and this is all about our course and the details part. Done. I hope this part and the details part is clear. Now, if it is clear, next we can start with our chapter 1. I hope there is no doubt at all. Now, if there is any doubts, I'll take some doubts. And if there is no doubts, we'll take up the first unit. Online, any doubt? Offline, any doubt? Doubt idea? Ishtantu as a part of this course, as a part of strategy, we have discussed. Take some 10 seconds. Any doubts? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ? Yes or no? Now, is it fast? Is it slow? Or is it fine? Okay na? Now, first one is speed fine. ನಾನು ಪಟ್ಟಂತ ಈಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಅದಾದ ನಾನು ಸ್ಪೀಡಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ ಸ್ಪೀಡು ಫೈನ್? ಎಸ್. ಓಕೆ. Second one, language. Now, should I teach it in pure English or some 70-30 or 80-20 is fine? What do you want? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದು ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. Is it you want pure English or some ಕನ್ನಡ ಟಚ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. 70-30 is fine. ಬಾಯ್ ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನ. ಓಕೆ. The third one, should I need to dictate the notes or will you make notes while explaining the content? ಏನು ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ? ಏನು ಬೇಕು ಪಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳು. ಡಿಕ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಆಯ್ತು. I'll dictate the notes. Okay, fourth one, do you want PPT presentation or it is with writing? ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ? ಎರಡೂ ಬೇಕಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಪಟ್ಟನಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Writing is fine? Okay. Writing plus explaining is fine. Okay. Done? Okay na? ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನಾದರೂ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? ಸರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಬ್ರೇಕ್? ವಿಲ್ ಯು ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಆಯ್ತು, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 10 or 15 minutes. ಓಕೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನೇ 3 hour ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರು. ಓಕೆ. ಟುಡೇ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟುಮಾರೋ ಐ ವೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಐ ವೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್, ಬಟ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಡೇ ನೋಡಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್. ಓಕೆ. ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿಮಿಷ ಬೇಕು? ಬ್ರೇಕು ಸಮ್ 10 minutes ಸಾಕು. 10 minutes ಸಾಕು, ಆಗಿನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೇಡ. 10 minutes ಅಂದರೆ 15 minutes ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಬರೋದು ಸ್ಟಡೆ 15 minutes ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ನಾಟ್ ಎನ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. ನಂಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, yes, we'll do that also. And dictate the notes as means answer writing. Okay, we'll do that online, not an issue. How many days course? I already said that it is now we are starting from 24th. Now it takes up till, we call it as the mid of December or end of December. By end of December, at any cost, this will be done. It is end of December ashtal mugiyate, not an issue. Okay. Seventh one, okay. Writing is fine. Dictating the notes, okay, adunu include agide. 70-30 is good. Okay, break kodana. Aitu. What about mentorship for online students? Okay, for online students also, you can come to our branch, or else we can go for a telecalling also. It is via mobile or via Zoom. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಬಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ. ಸಿ, ವೆನೆವರ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ನೀಡ್, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ. ಎಸ್, ಸಿ, ಅದಂತೂ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇದೆ, ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಆರ್ ವಯಾ ಝೂಮ್, ವಿಚ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಬಲ್ ಟು ಯು, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಎಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದಿಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಆರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಡನ್. ನಾ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಬೇಕಾ? ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ, ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Okay, from Wednesday I'll give a break. Okay. Now the next one is our unit 1, chapter 1. It is chapter 1. Chapter 1 given called as Introduction to Geography. Chapter 1 we call it as I hope the complete part of the basics are clear now. Okay, ಏನು ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ? Okay. Introduction to geography. See, any challenge you should inform me at least. Okay, ಏನಾದರೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ you stop me, sir ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡಿ, or you can stop me always. See, ನಾವು ಬಂದಿರೋದು ನಿಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಲ್ಲ. Sir, I'm mainly preparing for UPSC. Is this course covers it? Obviously. See, majorly we are doing it for UPSC and KS, but and that's the reason I also said that it is if you prepare for UPSC and KPSC, automatically all the exams will get cleared. Yes or no? See, state exams adre it is state geography, the Karnataka geography only addition agutte ashte. Arbitrary everything remains same. I'll cover all those things. Yes or no? Now coming to we call it as the introduction of geography. Now, sir, which all themes you will be covering as a part of introduction to geography? Now, under introduction to geography, we will be covering the three themes. We will be covering three themes. It is nodi ivattu nimage gottagutte hengirutte anta. It is three themes. Now, under those three themes, we will be studying about our first theme called as the complete concept about Earth. The theme 1. Now, theme 1 will be about what? The theme 1 will be about, we call it as Earth. Theme 1. And second one, theme 2. The second one we call it as, under theme 2, we will be studying about the latitudes and longitudes. Under theme 2, we will be studying about two themes. One is called as latitude. One we call it as latitude, and the second one we call it what? Longitude, boss. Second one we call it as longitude anta karitevi. Okay na? Latitude and longitude we'll be discussing as a part of second theme. And the third theme we will be discussing about, we call it as motions of Earth. Motions of Earth. The theme 3. Under the theme 3, we will be studying about what? We will be studying about, we call it as motions of Earth. What do you mean motions? Loose motions, huh? Now, motion andrenu? Movement. Now, Earth moves in two, I can say, the two directions, or we call it as in two motions, which is that two motions. One is rotation, and second one we call it as revolution. Barkondili amal nodona ಏನು ಅಂತ, we'll see one by one. Now, sir, rotation ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ತನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆದ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದೇನಿದು? ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ rotation. I am rotating around my axis. But ade, if I am revolving around some parent star, I think that is the sun, parent star. That we call it as what? That we call it as revolution. First one is rotation, and the second one we call it as what? Revolution. Now, if you understand these three themes, one question for sure. And be it with respect to your PC, PSI, majorly they will be asking it from this two. Now, with respect to your UPSC and KS exams, they will be asking it from the motions perspective. Now, in this chapter, I will be discussing only three themes. The first theme about the concept of what? About the concept of, we call it as, about the concept of, which one? Concept of Earth. And second one, under our theme 2, we will be discussing about what is latitude, horizontal, the virtual lines that have been added on the Earth, we call it as latitudes, and we call it as, it is perpendicular to the equator, we call it as longitudes. For everything, I'll give you blueprint. Adhan fill ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಮುಗೀತು. Workbook ಜೊತೆಗೆ it is, you will be understanding the concepts. Second, the third one we call it as, while discussing about the motions, you will discuss about the rotation part, and second one you will discuss about what? Revolution also. Yes or no? Yes. Now, this will be the the unit or the three themes under our the first unit. One question for sure. It is one question for sure. You will get it from, we call it as the introduction to geography as such. Done? Okay. Now, before wasting our, I can say without wasting our time, let us go for our first theme. It is given called as theme 1. The first one called as the theme 1, that is called as what? Earth. Now, first understand what is Earth. Where is Earth? What is Earth and where is Earth? Online. What is Earth and where is Earth in our solar system? ಬರ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದಾದ ನಾನೇ ಬರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ. Solar system, now first understand and later on we'll see one by one. Okay, observe this. ಇದನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ? ಮೊದಲು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನೇ ಬರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಬರೆಯಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಷ್ಟೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸನ್? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸನ್. The sun. Now up till Jupiter, there are 4 planets. And from Jupiter up till Neptune, we are called as second planets. Now, which one is closer to Sun? Which one closer to Sun? This 4 one. If it is closer, these planets are called as inner planets or outer planets? Inner planets. Why it is called inner planets? Because it is closer to the parent star called as Sun. In our solar system, we have only star that is called as Sun. Understand my question here? Now we have a single star in our complete solar system, and that star we got is what? Sun. Now, with respect to our complete solar system, if it is 100%, 98% of our solar system is made up of what? Sun. Hope you are getting it. Now, the complete solar system, 98% of our solar system ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ? ಸನ್ ಇಂದ. ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅವರ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್. ನಾವೀಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದವರು ಈ ಒಂದು ಸನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಒಂದು ಮಿಷನ್ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ದ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಮಿಷನ್. ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಮಿಷನ್? ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಲ್ಲಿ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. Majorly. Now, which is the mission which has been launched by it is ISRO to study about the sun? It is Aditya L1. Aditya antandre nothing but sun. L1 andre enu sir antandre Lagrange point 1. Now, how many Lagrange points we have? 5 Lagrange points. Why it is called as Lagrange point? It is because of, we call it as, because of a Joseph Lagrange. Because of Joseph the Lagrange, because of Joseph Lagrange. Nenpitkolli, the mission we call it as Aditya L1. Why it is called as Lagrange point 1? Because of the French scientists who have identified these points, and that point we call it as what? Lagrange points. Now, between the earth and the sun, we have 5 Lagrange points, boss. 5 Lagrange points. Be cautious. That we call it as Lagrange point 1. Yes, first one. The second one, the planets which are near to we call it as the sun, and which is present between, we call it as, this we call it as what? Asteroid belt. This we call it as asteroid belt. Now the planets which are present between the sun and the asteroid belts, and that planets are called as what? That planets are called as which planets? Inner planets. Now under inner planets, how many planets comes under inner planets? ಯಾವುದು ಬರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ inner planets ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ. One is Mercury, ಎರಡನೇದು Venus, third one Earth, fourth one it is Mars. All this comes under where? Inner planets. Sir, ಈ inner planets are made up of, it is what materials? Is it made up of solid? Is it made up of liquid? Or is it made up of gaseous materials? What do you think? Now it is made up of, take an example of Earth. Now Earth is solid idea, liquid idea, ಅಥವಾ gaseous planets ಇದಾವ? Now it is in solid boss. Now liquid ಇದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಹೌದೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ? It is in the form of solid. Now if it is solid ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, and these planets are also called as what planets? Terrestrial planets. These planets are also called as the terrestrial planets. Why terrestrial? Because all these inner planets are made up of, we call it as solid materials. ಈಗ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? Density will be higher. Now which one, or I can say which planet has the highest density? Earth has the highest density. ಈಗ ನೀವೇ ನೋಡಿ ಅರ್ತ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅರ್ತ್? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಥರ್ಡ್, ಮೂರನೇದು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಆರ್ ಸನ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. Second one, now this earth is called as Goldilocks zone. Why it is called as Goldilocks zone? Because water exists in what form? Liquid athwa solid or gaseous? In liquid form. What does liquid form denotes? What does liquid form denotes? It denotes moderate temperature. Yes or no? It denotes moderate temperature. Second. Now after this, now the farther planets, now between ಯಾವ belt? Asteroid belt. This we call it as asteroid belt. Example question ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Asteroid belt is present between which two planets? Mars and Jupiter. Yes or no? After this comes it is the last one, the last belt called as Kuiper belt. The last belt called as Kuiper belt. Last belt called as Kuiper belt. Now with respect to Kuiper belt, it is present after which planet? Neptune. Now the planets which are present between asteroid ಮತ್ತೆ Kuiper belt ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತ planets ಎಷ್ಟಿದಾವೆ? It is 4. Now which is that 4? Now out of that 4, which is largest? Observe ಮಾಡಿ. Jupiter is largest. Second one, which one has rings? Saturn. The next to us, we call it as Uranus and Neptune. Okay na? Now ಈ planet ಅನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we call it as ಇದು inner planet ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದೇನಾಗತ್ತೆ? Outer planet. Yes or no? Second one, if this is terrestrial planet in a form of solid, now this is called as what? It is gaseous planet. It is called as gaseous. Gaseous ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ವಾ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. It is also called as Jovian like planet ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ Jovian like? Jupiter like planets ಅಂತ. Yes or no? Jovian like planet means Jupiter like planets are present in our outer planets. Yes or no? This is about the second one, majorly about, we call it as the Jupiter, the Saturn, Uranus and we call it as Neptune. Yes or no? All this 4 comes under outer planets, or we call it as gaseous planets. Now with respect to this, we call it as this 4. That we call it as Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. Now all this comes under, we call it what? Majorly we call it as the Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars comes under which planets? The inner planets, terrestrial planets, or we call it as Earth-like planets. Yes or no? Now my simple question is, which planet is called as red planet? Which planet is called as hot planet? Which planet is called as, we call it as, the major one called as Earth's twin? And which planet is nearest to the sun? Now which planet is nearest to sun? Mercury. Now this Mercury is nearest to sun. Second one, which planet is Earth's twin? Venus. Now we are planning a mission to the Venus. Which is that mission? We call it as Shukrayana 1. We call it as Shukrayana 1 mission. Yes, so we are planning. ISRO is planning a Shukrayana mission to where? Venus. Third one. Now which planet is called as red planet? Mars. Now which is the mission which has been launched to Mars? It is the Mangalyana mission or MOM mission. Mars Orbiter mission. Yes or no? Mangalyana mission or Mars Orbiter mission, we have discussed that also. And the fourth one, which planet is called a hot planet? It is Venus. Now we'll see that one by one. Now which planet has highest amount of moons? Which planet has highest amount of moons? Yavudu? Now yavudappa highest amount of moons irtakkantaddu andre Saturn. More than 115 number. Recent current affairs. More than 115 number. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಅರ್ತ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮೂನ್ ಯಾವುದು? ನಾವು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮೂನ್ ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಚಂದ್ರ, ಆರ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೂನ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮಿಷನ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಚಂದ್ರಯಾನ 1, 2, 3. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ 4 ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ? ಈಗ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ನಾವು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. Now the major one, sir, whenever we are discussing about any topic called as, it is earth topic as such. But we need to know about the 3 blueprints here. One we call it as about earth. Earth andre yenu? About earth. And second one we call it as the salient features of earth. And the third one yaudili? Uniqueness anta karitivi. Okay na? Now iga sir, my first question is, what is earth and what is the location of earth? What is the location of earth? First one, try. First one, can I say that earth is a part of our solar system? Yes or no, boss? Now it's a part of our solar system. Namma solar system alle ide. But iga namma solar system alli now earth location enu? It is 3rd position from yellinda? Sun inda. Second one, it is earth is located, yell located agide? The 3rd location, be cautious. The location antakantadu 3rd from, we call it as sun. Second one, fine. The third one, we call it as, now the earth is also called as which planet? Earth is called as blue planet. Why earth is called as blue planet? Blue color ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? Now water ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ white color ಇದೆ, transparent color ಇದೆ. If that is the case, why earth is called as blue planet? Completely agree. Completely agreed. Earth is called as blue planet. But my simple question is, the water does not have any color. If that is the case, why it is called as blue planet? Online fast? Completely agrees. It covers 71% of our land. It is the land mass. It is covered with water. Completely agreed. But my question is, why it is called as blue? Rather, it would have been called as white. It is planet or transparent planet. But why blue planet? Because of refraction and reflection of light. Because of refraction and reflection of light, the water looks like blue in color. It's not actually water is blue in color. It is from the observer. It looks blue in color. Because of what phenomenon? Because of refraction. Refraction spread ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Reflection ಅಂದ್ರೆ hit ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Yes or no? It is that we call it as refraction and reflection. Because of majorly reflection of the light, it is looking like ಯಾವ color? It is blue color. And a planet we call it as which planet? The blue, a planet ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. We call it as the blue planet. And if you want, it is that we'll write it in your uniqueness. 71% all those things will add it as a part of uniqueness. Done. But as of now is about the earth. Is it clear? Now earth. Now what is earth? Earth is a part of a solar system, and the third location, it is placed the third location from the parent star called as sun. And third one we call it is called as blue planets. If you want, you can add, it comes under terrestrial planet also. It comes under inner planet or it comes under terrestrial planet. It comes under inner planet or it comes under where? Terrestrial planet. Online, I hope you guys are getting it. Exactly. Due to refraction of the sky. Exactly, because of reflection, because of refraction of it is the light, it is the water look like blue in color. And that's the reason this planet is called as blue planet. Done, boss? First one done. Now, first one done ಆದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಈ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ? ಶೇಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ? ಅಂಡ್ ಎರಡನೇದು, ಇದು ಯಾವ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ಇದನ್ನ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮುಗಿದ ಕತೆ. ಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರ? Now, what is the shape of the earth? ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it is flattened at the poles, bulged at the center. It is flattened at the poles and it is bulged at where? If this is not exactly circle, be cautious. But now ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ circle ಬರಿತೀವಿ. But it's not actually exactly. Online, thank you. Yes. Perfect, yes. Now my question is, the question here is, yes. Now geoid, completely agree. Okay, shape is geoid, completely agree. But ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಸರ್ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ, now if I want to name it, this is 0, this we call it as 0, and ಇದನ್ನೆಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? This we call it as, if it is 0, this is 90, this is also 90. Now, sir, ಈಗ ಎರಡು 90 ಬಂದಾಗ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But how to reduce that confusion? ಆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ we gave this as 90 degrees north. We gave this as what? 90 degrees south. Yes or no? It is. ನಮ್ಮ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಪ್ಪಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಬಲ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಹೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೀಟ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ? ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ, ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ನಾವು ಹೆಡ್ ನೋಡಿ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಈವನ್ ಫುಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್. In the same manner, earth is also, it's an adaptation. Nenpitkolli, even it is, earth is also an adaptation. Now because of adaptation, now this I will give it as 90 degree. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇವತ್ತಿಂದ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು, ನಾನು ಕತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ. 90 degree, ಇದು 0 degrees. Yes. Now ಈಗ ಇದು ಕೂಡ 90 degree ಅಲ್ವಾ? Now this we call as what? Sir, now why it is called as 0 degree? Why it is called 90 and 90? I'll discuss that also. But I have some patience. But ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ it is ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. But my question is, now what is the shape of the earth? What is the shape of the earth? Is it circular shape? No, boss. But earth is like earth shape. Now what is this earth shape? Geoid. But sir, my question is, what is that earth shape andre? Earth shape andre at poles hatra enagide? At poles it is flat. At poles it is flat. At 90 degrees north and at 90 degrees south. Yes. Online, thank you. It is north and south, it is flat and flat. But at equator, ಹಿಂಗಾಗಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಈಗ ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಡುಮ್ಮಕ್ಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡುಮ್ಮಕ್ಕಾಗಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎನ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟೇಷನ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎನ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಅದು it is to balance the gravitational force. In the same manner, even our earth also gets bulged at the center, and north ಮತ್ತು south pole ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? It is flat. It is bulged at the center. It is bulged at where? Bulged at center. But it is flat at where? It is flat at the poles. Yes or no? Flat at the poles. And ಈ ಒಂದು ಶೇಪ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಶೇಪ್ ಅನ್ನ we call it as ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್. ಈ ಒಂದು ಶೇಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ ಸರ್? ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಂತ, ಬಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೇನಂತ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್. ಆಮ್ಲೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್. ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿಕಲ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇದು. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿಕಲ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ನೀವು ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನೋ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಫ್ಯೂ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ as what? ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್. ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್. ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಆಬ್ಲೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು? What is the reason for it is creation of bulge at the center and flattened at the poles? Why this happens, and what is the reason for this? ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ. ರೀಸನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರ್ತ್ ಆನ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಸ್. ಈಗ ನೀವೇ ನೋಡಿ, ನನಗೆ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ or at the poles. ಈಗ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ತಿರುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಪೋಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ನಾವು ಸರ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ನೀವೇ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಈಗ ನಾನು ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ತಿರುಗಿದಾಗ ಈಗ ಎಡ್ಡಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತಾ, ಲೆಗ್ಗ ಅಥವಾ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? ಇವತ್ತು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನೀವೇ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಯಾವುದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರೊಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಸ್, ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡಿ 24 ಗಂಟೆ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ವಿದಿನ್ 24 hours ಒನ್ ರೊಟೇಷನ್, ಡನ್ 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 ಅಂತ. ಸರ್ ಅದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದೇ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಜರ್. ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾವು ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಬಲ್ಜ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಪೋಲ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್. The reason for that here is, what is the reason here? The reason here is because of the rotation speed. Because of the speed of the rotation, it is higher at where? Higher at center and minimal at the poles. And that is the reason we are experiencing ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ? we are experiencing, we call it as bulged at the center and flattened at where? Poles. Satisfied? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರೋಣ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲೂ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಮುಗಿಸೋಣ. ನಾವೀಗ ಶೇಪ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಹಿಯರ್? The shape here is we call it as geoid. We call it as geoid, and the geoid it is also called as what? It is also called as oblate the period. Now coming to rotation. Now sir, rotation andre ಏನು? Now we have an axis. ಈ ಆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಸುತ್ತ ನಮ್ಮ ಅರ್ತ್ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಸುತ್ತ ನಾವು if earth is rotating on an axis, we call it as what? We call it as rotation. Now what is the time taken by the earth to complete one rotation? What is the time taken by the earth to complete one rotation? It is 1 day. 1 day. Now what is 1 day here? 24 hours. 23 hours plus change. Normally we will take it as 24 hours. Yes or no, boss? Now this we call it as rotation. But revolution andre? Now revolution, it is planet rotating around a parent star, that is sun. We call it as what? We call it as revolution. Yes or no? Now revolution andre, it is rotating around a parent star, we call it as sun. Second one on its axis ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ರೊಟೇಷನ್. ಈಗ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್, ಒಂದು ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ತಗೊಳತ್ತಪ್ಪ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಅಪ್ ಬೈ ದ ಅರ್ತ್ ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಒನ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್? ಬೇಗನೆ. It is majorly we call it as 1 year. Now how many days we have in 1 year? 365 days and 6 hours. 365 days and 6 hours anta maatadತೀವಿ. Okay, voice is breaking. Now is it same for everyone online? Check first. Okay. Okay, now it is clear. Okay. Now online one who are facing a challenge, let us exit and come back. Clear your chat and come back. No sir, it's clear. Okay, done it. Okay. Okay, alva. Now revolution antakantadu. Sir, what is the time period taken up by the revolution? Now that we call it as 365 days anta ಕರಿತೀವಿ plus ಏನು 6 hours. Now ಈ 6 hours ಅನ್ನ one day ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Now for that we will take 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours. 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours. We will add it into, it is one day, once in how many years? Once in 4 years. And this once in 4 years, adin enda ಕರಿತೀವಿ leap year. Yes or no? It is normal years, we call it as 365 days, 6 hours. But leap year means it is one day has been added. Now to which month we add this one day? It is to the month of February. To the month of February, and that we call it as, it is the leap year. That we call it as leap year. That we call it as leap year. That we call it as leap year. Okay, now the leap year takes place once in how many years? Once in 4 years. This we call it as revolution. Tomorrow we will discuss A to Z. Just I'm introducing the topics here. Hope you're getting it. Now coming back to this. Now what do you mean by rotation here? Rotation andre enu? Now rotating on its axis. Rotating on its axis. Rotating on its axis. What's the time period which is taken for one rotation? 24 hours. 24 hours. Done. Second one. What do you mean by revolution? Now revolution means the rotation around the parent star called as what? Sun. Now what's the time period taken? 365 days and we call it as what? 6 hours. Perfect. Yes or no? This we call it as the second, or we call it as revolution part. This comes under where? The salient features of Earth. Done? Okay. Third one. The third one we call it as, what is the uniqueness about, we call it as Earth. What is the uniqueness about this Earth? First, try at least what is the uniqueness about this Earth. Now uniqueness about Earth ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, now Earth is made up of what? 71% of water. 71% of water. Remaining what? Remaining how much? 29% of, we call it as land. Yes or no? 71% of water and 29% of land. 29% of land, and that is the reason. The dominant 2/3 part, it is made up of what? 2/3 part, it is made up of water. Yes. Second one, the water exists in liquid form, and that is the reason the Earth is called as what zone? Goldilocks zone. It is also called as which one? Okay, Goldilocks zone is also called as biosphere. It is also called as the sphere, also called as biosphere. Yes or no, boss? Now this is about our the aspect of, we call it as earth. Now is this part clear now? Now clear agartha. So this is called as blueprinting and filling the blueprints. Filling the blueprints majorly. I hope it was the clear now. Yes. Now majorly, now in the today's class, we'll stop it here. Now tomorrow when we come back, we will start with second theme and the theme after second theme about latitudes and longitudes, because if I start now, again it will take some half an hour to 1 hour. It will take time. And second one about the longitudes, and the third one we will be discussing about which one? The rotation and revolution of the earth. Yes. And after completing of this chapter 1, we will be moving to the second chapter called as origin and evolution of earth. Origin and evolution of earth and discuss madbekadre, we will be discussing about the different hypotheses. Majorly about nebular hypothesis, Big Bang theory. We will be discussing about how earth has been formed. It has planets, zamials, adar ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ study ಮಾಡ ನಾಳೆ class. Okay na? But today's class, is it fine, everything done? Okay. In the today's class, it is before winding up, just we call it as just a wind up or just a glance. Now majorly we have discussed about, we call it as what, why and how of geography. What and what we have discussed about majorly about what does geography means. It's a two words. Majorly it includes geo and graphy. Geo means earth and graphy means what? A study or a discipline or a branch. Now it's a branch, we call it as social science branch, which integrates both humanities as well as the science branch, and the other reason it is more comprehensive. Now after this we have talked about, it's a word which majorly it has been adopted from, we call it as the Greek terminology. And majorly we also discussed about the two words also. And after that branches, the physical geography, human geography, followed by economic geography, and we have also discussed about majorly part of as Indian and the world geography also. And after that, we have started with our chapter 1 that is called as Introduction to Geography or Introduction about the Earth. Now under introduction, we have discussed about majorly, I'll give you the blueprint about 3 themes. One is called as the first theme called as about Earth. Second theme we call it as latitudes and longitudes, and the third theme we call it as what? The theme we call it as majorly the third theme we call it as about it is rotation and about the revolution. Yes, done. This is all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the class. Now it is such classes will be continued from tomorrow the same time. It is 8 to 11. Yes, with a break for sure. Yes, online. Thank you. Now hope you guys enjoy the class. If yes, just give a like before leaving. Yes. Now any doubts you can ask or else. Yes, we'll wind up now. Yes, okay. Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Thank you. See you all tomorrow online. It is Hare Krishna. It is yes, all perfect. Thank you. Bhumika, thank you. Tarun, thank you. User, thank you. Super class, thank you. Thank you very much. Bhumika, Umesh, thank you. Yes, yes. Chandana, thank you. Samrin, thank you. Yes. Okay. Done. Answer writing part is also done. It is tomorrow we'll discuss answer writing part also. The few basics I'll discuss tomorrow. Yes. Thank you.